So real quick introduction to Cirque before we start the video. We're a capacitive touch company. If you know what capacitive touch is, it's basically the touch technology that runs touch screens, touch pads, that kind of thing, cell phone touch pads, all that. And we have been around for a long time. This is our 30th. This year is the 30th anniversary of Cirque. So for a tech company, we're actually kind of old, but that comes with a really fun, rich, interesting history. Being a startup in someone's garage here, the founder's named George Graffiti. Being a startup here in the state of Utah, and going from that to 30 years later where we are, there's a fun, rich history there, with a lot of different challenges that we faced. And where we're at today is our primary products are laptop touchpads, touch screens that are in point of sale, like credit card machines, and game controllers, gaming devices that use touch technology, along with some industrial medical devices that use touch screens or touchpads. So with that array of products, we have a really strong presence in Taiwan and China, because all of the manufacturing and key parts of the engineering are done in those areas. So Dallas is in Taiwan. We have an office in Taiwan. We also have an office in Shanghai. And we have engineering and sales and purchasing mixed across here in Utah, and then there in Shanghai and Taiwan also. So let me give you a little propaganda video here, again, so you can all be like just super jazzed about how cool Cirque is, and then show you the basic slides, and we can open it up to questions. So there's your basic Cirque commercial. Well, let me give you a few more details about Cirque, and then, oh, sorry. And then we can get into questions. So here's a basic introduction of, who we are, what we do. Obviously, we're headquartered in Salt Lake. We're actually in Sandy, about 106 South area, if you're familiar with Utah. We are top to bottom all the disciplines of engineering. So we design the chip. We have a fully fledged, we're a fabless semiconductor, if you're familiar with that term, which means we design the chip. From the chip, we do all the hardware circuit PCB design. We write the firmware, we write the software, Windows driver. We do the manufacturing test. We make the manufacturing test fixtures. Top to bottom, we do everything from, very beginning of the design of the IC all the way to the end of the manufacturing flow. And it's a very, very fun dynamic.
Question.
Yeah.
With that kind of vertical integration, how many people are in the company? It seems like it's a lot of processes that you had to deal with, and you must have a very big engineering group to handle all that.
Yeah, that is a great question. So we have about 35 or 40 engineers, and the company total size is a little bit over 50. If you include our group in Taiwan, China, we're maybe closer to 55, maybe even 60. But we're different than a lot of companies in that we're very, very heavy on the engineering side. And we don't have, a lot of companies have 7 engineers and 15 sales and marketing and business development people, and we're kind of the opposite ratio. Lots of engineers and smaller on the sales and marketing side. So it's kind of unique in that regard. And I can explain in terms of our history, we're growing a lot right now. And a part of that is we're growing outside of just being an engineering focused group. So we started in the 80s, and in 91, the company was formally founded as Cirque by, like I said, a man named George Graffiti, who's founded it out of his garage. In 94, we landed in the first laptop. And laptops have been a key part. Laptop touchpads have been a key part of who we are and what we do ever since. Since 1994, we made the chip, but then we had the circuit board and the final module assembled by an outside factory, which usually was Alps Electric. So in 2003, Alps Electric fully acquired the company, and we've been a fully acquired a subsidiary of Alps Electric ever since. Alps Electric is a very, very large Japanese manufacturing company. There are about 50,000 employees and factories and design centers all over the world. And the fit with Alps has been very, very symbiotic. Alps has incredible expertise when it comes to manufacturing, and we're able to bring the designs to them, and they are able to manufacture it and bring it to production. So since 2003, we have acted as essentially the R&D arm of Alps for capacitive touch. We've designed capacitive touch products, and then they've manufactured them, and we're in, like I said, a large percentage of laptop touchpads, a lot of cars that use touchpads, a lot of different devices, and a lot of those are enabled by our relationship with Alps because they're a tier 1 supplier in these big markets, and we just bring the technology. So that's why we've been so heavy on the engineering side and very tech focused as a company. So in 2017, a major shift happened, and that's what's causing our growth. But in 2017, Alps said they wanted to get out of the sales and manufacturing of touchpads. So we took that over directly, and since then we've been owning the business development, the sales, the manufacturing, all the pieces of laptop touchpads. And we've been selling under the Cirque brand instead of the Alps brand. We used the Alps brand prior to 2017. So it's been a really fun opportunity for Cirque. We've reinvented ourselves. We're seeing a lot of growth, and we're really expanding our presence in Asia, because prior to 2017, our presence in Asia was in Japan, and there was a huge engineering and sales team in Japan and Taiwan that handled everything in Asia. Since we've, you know, since we've gone our separate ways in essence, and no longer work with that team day to day, we've had to build that up ourselves. And that's why we're seeing, you know, the majority of our growth is in Asia, as we see that's our need to build. So again, if you're familiar with Alps, Alps is actually now Alps Alpine, Alps and Alpine together. You know, there was an Alps acquired Alpine and integrated their brand into their own company name. And Alps Alpine is a gigantic manufacturing company that does, you know, every knob, switch, dial, assembly, anything you could think of that's kind of a sub-assembly electronics component. Alps Alpine likely manufactures and has a big presence in the market. So I touched on this before, but as a company, we really are very vertically integrated from top to bottom. We make the ICs, we write the firmware, we design the hardware, we write the software, we design all the manufacturing, and you know, we have every single one of those pieces inside what we do, and it makes for a very unique value proposition. A lot of our competitors will choose one of those pieces and do it. So our competitors will sell a chip, and the customer will have to take over the integration and figure out how to make it work, or they'll sell a chip and somebody else has to figure out manufacturing, or they'll sell a full module and won't allow that. They don't own some of the upstream pieces, but we own top to bottom the whole design, and that makes for a real strong value proposition when someone comes to us and says, I want a touchpad. Top to bottom, we can do all those pieces. In terms of our network, we're headquartered in Salt Lake. We have business development. We have a small office in Austin for business development. Obviously, the notebook companies have strong presence in Austin and Raleigh, North Carolina, so we cover that from the Austin area. Then we have an office in Taiwan with sales and engineering, and we have a team in Shanghai also with software engineering and factory support. We cover three primary market segments: consumer electronics, which is primarily laptop touchpads; industrial medical, which are you know, typically touchpads but with a much harsher environment; and then security and point of sale, which, you know, is touch screens but in a very harsh and unique environment as well. So, you know, touchpads are really one of the core parts of what we do, and depending on the year and the market share, you know, it could be as high as 40% of all the laptops in the world have or had a Cirque touchpad in them. So we have a strong presence in this space, and you know, have a good percentage of the market share here. And you know, it's one of the things that we really do focus on is what makes the best touchpad experience. We do a lot of usability research, and we've built up many years of expertise in figuring out what the best touchpad is, and how to make that, you know, a reality. We also have a very reliable solution. We go in a lot of harsh environments. We ship in cars. You can see the bottom right picture. There's an Audi A8. We've been in cars for since the early 2010s. With a lot of medical devices, hermetically sealed and with gloves and other things. And our ICs and our designs are able to handle those harsh extreme conditions. Because we're very vertically integrated, we can do anything in terms of a shape, size, form factor. So, tiny little sensors, ultra big sensors, clear, flexible, strange shapes. We do all of those things, and depending on the application, we actually, really enjoy tackling these unique custom solutions. Again, very robust, in the Airbus A380, in ultrasound machines, CNC machines, airport X-ray machine, etc. We're in a number of different applications. We're in VR gaming, as I pointed out. So we have a super high resolution analog that we developed over many years, which allows us to be able to track in air. So if you're familiar with the valve index, which is what this controller is, you can take your hands, strap the controller to you, and take your hands and put them like this, and it can see your hands in air tracking. And that's all by virtue of our tracking, proximity tracking on our sensors, all using capacitive touch. So we have, a wide variety of different touchpad solutions for gaming. And then last of all the devices you see there on the right are different point of sale devices that have our touch screens or touchpads in them. And our platform is unique in that we are able to scan and find the finger or the signature or the PIN number in a non-standard, non-detectable way that makes it very secure. We call it Secure Sense. It's a spread spectrum, very, very unique way, so that people can use our touchscreen in these payment devices, and then their rapid PCI certification for payment and encryption industries. So that's Cirque in a nutshell. Gives you an idea of the products that we're in, and a little bit of kind of our global footprint. So real quick before we open it up to questions, let me just point out in terms of openings and internships, we're currently desperately hiring anyone who can write firmware. So we're always looking for engineers, but we're definitely trying to grow the engineering team in Taiwan. So we're looking for firmware and hardware engineers both in Taiwan and here in Utah. We're looking for kind of a general purpose engineer in Shanghai. We have some software engineers, and we have some FA staff that we need to grow. We only have one FAE over there right now, so we need kind of a general purpose engineer there in Shanghai to improve our ability to work with our factories that manufacture. And then in terms of internships, we have a number of internships that from marketing. The finance people actually hit me up today saying they'd love an intern for basically data analyst. And then on the engineering side, they're always looking for interns in engineering.
Because a lot of people ask me about the internship. We see all the job openings on the permanent jobs. Do you have a list of internship? Because my understanding is that you have more internship opportunities in Utah rather than here in Taiwan.
That's right.
But I guess we have many BYU Hawaii students. They're back because of the pandemic, and then they won't go back till September. So I guess they might be very interested in looking for internship. And the other thing is that I learned from your discussion that you break out from Alps now and you're taking back full control not, just vertical integration, but also you are going into sales marketing area. So would that be a major development? Because that takes a lot of manpower and skill. So do you see that as in the next few years that you have to build strong sales team, marketing group? That
Yes.
present opportunities, right?
Yes, absolutely, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's absolutely correct. So we have grown a lot in sales and marketing, all in Taiwan. And we will certainly continue to grow there in Taiwan and or China in that sales, marketing, business development area. And we share some of those services, particularly purchasing and supply chain management, are done by an Alps Taiwan office right now. And we plan to, we're likely going to pull that in to Cirque and take control of that in the next six months or more. So yeah, purchasing, supply chain management is also something we're going to be adding in Taiwan.
Okay.
And in terms of internships in Taiwan, so we would be open to, I think, internships in Taiwan as well. It's just not something that we honestly had considered, because we didn't have an avenue to find people. But yes, I think we'd be open to internships in Taiwan or in the US. Sorry, I think I've just gotten photobombed here by a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. So let me send them off to bed.
Yeah, the other question I have is that this is to the audience, because I see a lot of names that I don't recognize. So I just wonder how many BYU students are now online. I know this class from Taichung Technology University. I probably need a count from them so we know how many are attending. I know there are probably 15, 20 people in that lab that we saw, and then we have a total of 25, and I see many new faces. I would assume some of you are BYU students, so hopefully we get a count. If you can leave a message saying I'm BYU students, because I didn't see you register in our visit, so I couldn't make a count. That's on my part. So if you can leave a message to us, then we have an accurate account of who is attending. Okay, sorry, back to you, Brian.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, what questions do you have about Cirque, or Cirque in general, or potential opportunities at Cirque, or anything?
Well, we do have a list of questions that came in, but you guys want to open it up first for questions, or do you want to run through that list that came in? Philip, what do you?
Oh, maybe we can start with the questions.
Yeah.
That came in.
And I sent those over to you, Anna, on Slack as well. And I think we've already addressed a couple of them, but we can go through it really quick. Did you see those, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Let's, I'm just pulling it up right now.
So the job offering from graduates, I think we've kind of already discussed that. Is there anything you want to add on that? That's the first question. I think we could probably go on from that. And the next question is, what are some of the traits you look for in a candidate? And I know this is something that Brian and Anna talk about regularly within our company.
Yeah, you want to take that, Anna?
Yeah, I would say to start with, we look for the technical skills to meet whatever position we're filling. But the other three major things that we look for, they're actually corporate values. We look for employees with humility, with a hunger and a drive, and also with people smarts. So we just call them humble, hungry, and smart. Those are the values that we look for in all of our employees. And this is something that we basically started over the last maybe 4 years or so. And since we've done that, we've really made an emphasis, particularly on these three values. I think we're getting a much better, we're getting better employees, better teams, people can integrate into the culture much faster with these three values, these three qualities that we try to hire for, 3 questions, whatever, but we do all of our performance reviews. Everything is based around those 3 values: humble, hungry, and smart.
I think humble, hungry are easy to understand. If you can elaborate a little bit more about the people smart side, because it can be many things, but if you can explain better, you probably give us some clue for the students to answer questions or prepare themselves.
Okay. Well, just people smart, just to know how to get along with people, recognize that there are different personalities, and that even though there are different personalities, we all need to be able to get along in the work environment. And I think the people smart tie very closely to the humble and hungry, because if you're humble, you have a tendency to be willing to take constructive criticism, and you give better constructive criticism. If there's something you don't like, you're better able to go to your coworkers and say in a very politically correct way, this isn't working for me, and it makes it easier to solve the problem. And as far as hungry, if you've got, this is a people skill also, because when you run out of things to do, for instance, if we don't want you to sit around and just wait, look to your coworkers, look to the next list of things to do. But oftentimes, if we can work together as a team and help each other, it just makes a more cohesive environment. So the hunger, we want people that are gonna look, be eager to learn and to grow and to be better and make the team better. And so these are all part of the people smart. And I think that when we say people smart, it's just taking all of those elements and applying them to how we interact with people. That's basically, it's those 2 values, but using them towards the outside, the external, and how we interact with coworkers and one another.
I think this is a phrase I got from Dallas, but I think it perfectly summarizes one key element in being people smart is we don't allow brilliant jerks. Lots of places I think fall into the trap of someone who's technically very capable or very good at their particular aspect of their job, but no one likes working with them, or they won't use other people's stuff, or they won't be a good member of the team. I think our experience is that even though it's tempting to hire that person who seems to be brilliant, we're always better off working as a team with people that respect each other's opinions and work together well.
Yeah. So in a way, you also emphasize a lot on teamwork.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was muted there. Thank you. The next question we had is, what are some of the core technologies in the company, which I think we've already gone through that. Who are our major competitors, and what makes Cirque the winning company?
Yeah, I think I can answer that. And also the second one, what is our market strategy and how do we ensure we can grow our business? So our major competitors are primarily the other CapTouch companies. Synaptics, Elon Tech are our 2 biggest competitors. Then you have a number of general purpose cap touch companies like Goodix and Melfast and Xitinix, and there's at least 20 companies that make capacitive touch ICs like us. So there's a good list of very major competitors, and it's a very competitive space. And we strive to be the winning company without question. But we're also, I think, not dumb enough to think that we're the only ones. There's lots of great companies out there that are doing great things, and we're one of them. We strive to be one of them. So particularly for us, there's a few things that we're doing to differentiate ourselves. First is that vertical integration. Our competitors try one aspect of making an IC and dumping it off on people, for example, or making a full module and not giving people control of the top end, or not owning the top end. So we own everything from IC design down to manufacturing. We think that vertical integration is quite valuable. And for the right customers, we have a very winning solution there. When we identify the right customers, we can go in and say we can offer the full solution, and our competitors are, almost all of our competitors are choosing to offer one or other portions of the solution, and we typically can win those opportunities. So our market strategy really is that full solution vertical integration, along with being a very collaborative solution provider. So our key customers, we collaborate very directly from an engineering level, and where we find our competitors are saying, here's a touchpad, take it or leave it. If you want it, good. If not, there's nothing I can do to help. There's nothing else I can do to help you. We try to build a strong relationship with our customers' engineering teams. And then when our customers come to us and say, hey, what about this or what about that? We essentially become their prototype house. We build the prototype for them. We work together with them, and doing that allows us to kind of stay ahead of the cutting edge, what their needs and wants are. We very highly value the customer and try our very best to listen and not dictate to them what they know and they should be telling us.
In terms of market share, so since you have like 25 some competitors, so what's the market share so far for the company?
Yeah, that's a super complicated question because there's so many different markets. So for example, cell phones and tablets, it's zero. We don't participate in that market. It's a kind of in our opinion, a race to the bottom commodity market. Laptops, it's right now between 10 and 25%, which is low for us historically, and we're really growing and seeing some major improvements there. But I think historically we had a period where we stopped listening to the customer and we lost some of that market. So we're gaining it back. Then on the point of sale side, there's a bunch of different segments of payment devices. The multi-lane devices that you see here in the US, like at grocery stores, Walmart, Home Depot, we're in almost 85% of those.
Wow.
But the mobile devices, we are mobile payment devices, which is a new emerging market segment. We have, between 20 and 30% at least of that. So a good percentage of the market share. And then, in automotive, I think we have a good percentage of market share there when you're talking about touch pads in cars. So almost all the touch pads, with the exception of I think Daimler or Mercedes, just about every other touchpad, Audi, GM, Mazda, Jaguar, Land Rover, all those touchpads are ours.
Okay. As you said, the vertical integration is a strength. It could be a challenge as well, because you kind of spread yourself thin. Because if
Right.
somebody focus on one process, they can put all the engineering behind that. While when you have this vertical integration, you have to spread out to make sure all the processes are done properly. Would that
Right.
be a challenge or causing
Is
you
it-
concerns?
It's a huge challenge, and it's really limited our growth. And that's why our competitors don't do it, is because if they just do one thing, it's a much easier to scale. You know,
Right.
we're often offering custom solutions to our customers, where if we just offered a generic solution, it would be much easier to sell it to a lot more people.
Yep.
And so our answer to that in the last 3-4 years has been to invest in automation of the design process. So we're working now on, instead of writing code to figure out how to, you know, do touchpad algorithms, we're writing code that auto generates touchpad algorithms for new applications, so that we can have a streamlined design process that's scalable while still keeping that vertical integration, because that's a key differentiator for us. And you know, it is, we've really found a good niche in that segment, and now what we're doing is working on how to make that scale, make it efficient, automated, and scalable, so that we can, you know, double, triple our market share without having to double, triple our staff.
Okay. Thank you.
So it looks like, I think most of the questions, I think we probably have covered. Looks like Caleb and Emmett have their hands raised. Should we go there?
Let's go with Caleb. He's in the first corner.
Yeah.
Hello. So yeah, I'm Caleb. I'm a CS major at BYU, and I was wondering what sort of qualifications you had for the internship positions for people that are maybe newer to it. Like, what level would you expect us to be in the coursework or in general?
So the internship on the engineering side would probably be probably done with your second year of school. Ability to read and write C, and some level of other lower level languages, but ideally Verilog. I think if you're being a CS major, you probably haven't been exposed to Verilog, but you could pick it up, I'm sure. But yeah, we're looking for an intern in the engineering side that you know, has some good familiarity with code, that can pick up code that's already done and do work with it, but not have to, you know, do it from the ground up. So probably about a second year student.
And I posted that internship on Handshake this afternoon. So it's on Handshake at the Y and also up at the University of Utah. And you can just, if you're interested in applying, this particular one that we're trying to fill immediately here in Utah is going to be working with our engineering staff, doing a lot of documentation of our processes and our IC, just get our documentation in line, as well as other duties that may be assigned, like Brian says, with the code and that. But if you're interested, please send your resume to Cirque's website at just cirque.com in careers. Just send it, or you can just send it directly to me. My email is Anna, ANNAW @cirque.com. And mention that you're applying for the internship.
And if I could ask one second question, are most of the internships for, I guess, people in the US or Utah, or would there be any opportunities to go to Taiwan or China to do any of those internships?
You know, doing I would say doing a foreign American in Taiwan is a little bit more intensive than somebody who would be a citizen of Taiwan, and we haven't looked into that for internships. And so I don't think we have an answer on that. But if it made sense, we would make it work. We would find a way to do it. We have the ability, we have an office here, but there are more steps for me being here than there are for somebody who would be native to Taiwan, of course.
My understanding is that now the government is open to foreign workers, and as Dallas was saying, the process might be a bit lengthy, but it can be done. So some of the big corporations nowadays in Taiwan do hire foreign students for internship or for jobs.
All right. Is it to me now?
Yeah.
Excellent. My question actually is kind of in line with some of the things that have been asked. Brian, I know that you mentioned earlier that one of the things that Cirque is considering doing is moving that supply chain stuff in-house. I actually already have an internship this summer doing purchasing with Walmart. And I won't graduate until next April. And I know that you said that that rollout is probably going to happen here in the next 6 months. But the question that I had was just moving forward to next summer, are there going to be like opportunities for that supply chain or that purchasing?
I think he got frozen.
Yeah. So I can guess at how the question was going to end. Did we lose you, Emmett? Are you back?
His eyes are still closed. I'm going to say he's frozen still.
Come back, Emmett, come back.
The joy of Zoom.
Okay, I have a question for the Taichung University of Technology. Do you people have questions? I know it can be a little bit challenging with the language, but I also know you know many of the terms and words. Any other students have questions from there? From our lab in Taichung?
And if you want to use Chinese for a question, we can also translate it.
Sure. Okay, we'll give you some time. If you have questions, please raise your hand. We are glad to answer your questions as well. And Ling Shi or Jess, do you have questions?
I have a little small question. So one of my friend were looking at the information that Cirque company offered, and she had a question about when would be the full-time offer starting, like the job starting, and where the position will be, like mostly in Utah. I heard in the couple minutes ago, but like if he's a Chinese, then would there be any opportunity that she could work for the company?
Yes, we have 4 employees in Shanghai. 3 of them are software engineers in an office with Alps engineering team there in Shanghai. And then we have 1 dedicated kind of factory support and customer support technician who works out of his home in Shanghai. So we're looking to hire a second support position there. So it's kind of a general purpose person with some engineering capability, and also it's a bit of a sales role also. There's a lot of customer interaction, so it needs to be a good personality that's very detailed and good with customers. And that position is someone who's really working from their home there in Shanghai.
Well, it could be, it will be maybe a very good combination. If somebody from China who's graduating now can do kind of internship here, or really
Right.
get hired here and get trained well and go back to China, that would be ideal, right? Get to
Right,
know all the
absolutely.
technology and all the people before they go back. So that will be an ideal situation.
And Jess, I don't know if Jess, your question was about as a Chinese national working in the US for Cirque, but we have hired Chinese nationals who worked for Cirque before. So we understand that process for sponsorship and visas as well. If that was, I don't know if that's what you were also asking about a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, my questions kind of like combined questions. Yes, you have all answered my questions well. Thank you so much.
So Emmett's back. I think we, so your question, Emmett, was about supply chain purchasing, maybe a position available next April. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Sorry, my Wi-Fi died right when I finished.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. So it's hard to predict when we're going to fill that position and when we might need to grow. But it's absolutely possible that we have openings and we need help that time. And I think like Philip pointed out, a really good way to test drive that for both parties would be when your internship is done, and you're back in school. If you're interested in doing kind of a part-time gig with us for your last year while you're finishing up school, we could probably test drive on both sides and see if that was a fit.
Yeah, I would love that.
And see if we could try it from that perspective. We have purchasing in-house right now, but only half of the product. So we have purchasing for our industrial segment and some of our other things. That's all in Salt Lake here. But all of the purchasing for notebook computers is done through the Taiwan office. That's an Alps office, and there's a team. There's 3 or more people that do just purchasing for that side of it. So that's the part that we're looking to bring in-house, either through Salt Lake or in Taiwan.
Awesome. That's great to know. Yeah, that's definitely something that I'd be interested in following this summer.
Yeah, Emma, when you're done with the summer internship, get a hold of us. Get a hold of me or Brian or both of us.
Okay, I will.
And I just sent my LinkedIn profile. So if you guys connect there, I can always help reconnect and get back in touch as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Looks like Liu Zhouwei.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, you can call me Raphael. So,
Raphael.
so I just have a quick question. So I guess just look at the BYU Handshake website and the internship title, engineering internship. And I saw the requirement is you need to be a electrical engineering student. So like I'm a statistics major and minor in business student. So I guess like I know some coding, but is there any internship that's like fits my skills and major, I guess?
Yes, we actually have a full-time opening for a position called process engineer, which is absolutely a statistics position. So that position is someone who does basically takes our production test yields and is doing statistical distributions and probability plots on the test limits and determining if test limits should be adjusted and yields are safe and those types of things. So absolutely, we would love for you to apply for that, and we could consider that for an internship. When do you graduate?
Next year, April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So Yeah, right now that's being done by engineers. We don't have anybody with a strong statistics background who's doing it. So yeah, we'd love to consider that.
So is that already like a internship position in the summer, or like you guys will consider about it in the future?
So it's actually a full-time position that
Oh.
we're trying to hire right now, but I think we'd love to consider it as a part-time internship, at least to start. And then maybe we do that as we're trying to find someone who could take it full time.
Okay, sounds good. And where do you happen to know, like, where can I apply for that, or I just didn't see that anywhere?
Yeah, just email Anna directly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
just send it to me.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for answering.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
If you haven't noticed on the chat, I've shared Anna's email and my LinkedIn profile. So if you haven't seen that yet, make sure you get it if you would like to contact us further after this meeting.
Well, I'll ask 3 minutes advertising time to talk to the students, because it's hard to find students, and we're happy to have some of your BYU students here today. And I hope you enjoy this conversation directly with the management. That's our purpose, really, to try to introduce you to the management, and you have a direct dialogue with them, which is not very common. So hopefully you can go back and tell other students we're going to keep on doing this, and we'll introduce good companies. And then I also encourage you to keep your connections with Dallas, with Brian, with Anna, since you have already talked to them. That's the quickest way to get hold of key members of the management in the company, and it pretty much open all the other channels that you can talk to. So I hope that everyone who attend this will learn networking in a very practical way, and follow up on actions, so we can really make the visit productive to both the company and to you as the participants. Okay, so that's my 1 minute advertising. Back to you, Dallas.
Thank you. I think we've covered everything. It looks like we have 2 hands that just came up. So Song Yixin, you want to go ahead and ask your question real quick?
Oh yeah, so I got a question. I do like analog IC design, a little bit of mixed signals in the EE side. I was wondering, I actually heard Brian had a talk like a few years ago, but never had an opportunity to really know the company well. And I was just wondering, in that team, do you see any possible fit in that, like analog or mixed signal IC designs?
Absolutely. We have an immediate opening for an analog engineer. We had the position on the website, and then we filled it with someone, and that person did not work out. So yes, we have an immediate opening. So please send your resume, and let's talk for sure.
All right.
Yes, please send me your resume. Please.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
The other hand that was raised, looks like he probably lost his Wi-Fi. So I know he was messaging me on the chat, and oh, he's back. Okay, Mr. Yang, is it Junyu?
Good morning, everyone. This is Jaden from Taiwan.
Hi, Jaden.
Simple. Now I work as a PCB sales representative, and I'm interested for your product. In the same time, I'm also interested for your job provide. So may I ask you for the job offer, because from the link you only share for the hardware field support engineer career. So I want to ask you whether you have other job provided, and whether for this job provided you require seriously limited to mechanic only and 3 to 7 years in electronic industry. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so. The requirements are not as strict as you see in that description. So if you think you're a fit or interested in learning if you're a fit, we would strongly encourage you to just apply. The position we have up right now, specifically, we're looking for somebody who can do PCB design. So did you mention you're in PCB sales? Is that right?
Yeah, and sales.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think we're looking specifically in sales right now there in Taiwan, but things change very quickly. So I would strongly encourage you to both probably connect with Dallas and have him buy you lunch. And also, yeah, send your resume to Anna so that we can so that we can you know, keep you in mind if a posting comes up or an opportunity comes up.
Sure. It sounds like you recommend me to focus on learning PCB design, right? For those technique.
Right.
Besides
For
sales.
that specific position, yes.
Yeah, in Taiwan right now, our big focus is engineering technical skills to work with customer engineering support from technical things. You know, there are other opportunities within the company, as Brian discussed, that we haven't really looked at for Taiwan. You know, for example, you know, maybe sales, but maybe some project management or other internship opportunities that we could consider being based in Taiwan. But most of those we've looked at being in Salt Lake. But we definitely, as those things come up, we'll post them and share them, and I'll put them on the line group as well for the BOE Management Society. But yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very close to you. I'm also in Hsinchu, so we can get together and talk more.
Sure, thank you.
Okay.
One question that came in on the chat, Brian, is do we have clients interested in home renovation VR technology?
We've definitely talked with clients about VR technology for lots of applications. And again, one of the reasons why we have those very interesting conversations is because of our engagement style with the customer. We encourage customers to come to us with their strange ideas, and we'll find them a solution. So we've talked with customers about a lot of different both VR and AR concepts, but primarily around education. We've done a few partnerships here with the University of Utah, even around medical education and VR and other things. And we've talked with a number of clients about using VR in education. And then we're in Vuzix AR glasses and some Epson AR glasses. And there have been a number of discussions around VR AR for education or industrial applications and other things. I'm not aware of anything for home renovation, but it's a really interesting question. I'm curious if there are any specific details to that question.
Yeah, I've not heard of home renovation either. That was a
okay. Because now my husband and I we are like home renovation company, and our clients tend to see our like the photo or the 3D things before we start doing the home renovation. So we are thinking maybe the VR technology is going to help our clients or the customer. They would know more, or they would like see more clearly about their future house. So I'm, because in Taiwan, there are still like few people doing this. So I'm thinking maybe I can like do something about this.
Yeah, that's a super cool idea, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Something like that is quite focused on it as a software solution. So, you know, making it the specific game or software utility that is, you know, that renders the 3D file in VR. And that's not something we've done very much with. We've done 2 or 3 small software applications in VR, but we haven't done a whole lot with it. But we do have a good network of companies that use our products that make exactly that type of software. If you're interested in some of those connections, we could certainly connect you with some of those companies.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
For your information, we've got, with permission from Dallas, we recorded this interview or visit. So we're going to post it in the website, BYU Management Society website. So if you, because some of you said you missed some part of it, so hopefully you get to view it. And then we will try to see if we can do some translation of, you know, with some subtitle to help the understanding of other students, if we have enough manpower to do it. But anyway, just for your information.
Any other questions?
I think we have covered a lot, and I would really like to say thanks to Cirque and to Brian, to Dallas and Anna, and all your wonderful people. And I certainly enjoyed the visit, learned a lot, and I hope that our students get good idea of the company and also an idea how to proceed with contacts with you. And then our hope is always that you end up working for the wonderful companies. That's our main goal for setting out visits like this. So thank you again for Cirque and also for all the participants for today.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
I'd just say one quick thing about the connection aspect. Just thought of this now. I met Dallas like 5 years ago, a long time ago, just because he was a friend of a friend who said, hey, this guy's really great. But we didn't have any openings or positions or any fit for him really. But I just think, you know, a key part of your careers, all of our careers, is about connections. And, you know, I didn't know 5 years ago that, you know, Dallas would be a key part of Cirque and how we grow in Asia. But luckily I knew it, where, you know, we knew where he was, and we were able to convince him to come to Cirque 2 years ago, many years after, you know, a year or two after we had met that first time. In fact, it was really funny. I was in Shenzhen when Dallas was in Shenzhen, and we met up for church, which was super cool. Again, just, you know, not for work or, hey, come work for us or anything. It was just, hey, we met, let's continue this relationship. So I'd strongly recommend, even if you don't think there's any position or openings or fit for you and Cirque, you know, make the connection. We'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. If you're interested, send in your resume. You just never know when there might be a good fit for it, or, you know, or what. So yeah, strongly recommend just connecting with as much as you can.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, have a
Thank
good
you.
day and good evening as well.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.